Welcome back. We're back on the forklift here. Today we're looking into the brake drums, and I also need to take the wheel off so I can actually get to the transmission, because there is either a joint or a gasket leak. It constantly drips a little bit, so I always have a cardboard underneath, but that's not ideal. So I was expecting using some very long extensions and breaker bars and whatever, and they technically came loose with the short one. I hardly pulled on it, which is good. I didn't expect that. It's 1 1/8. They come off quite easy. Alright, let me take the nuts out and then we'll take the wheel off probably. I think it should go. The brakes are dragging a fair bit, you can see it here. It's pretty hard to turn, and it's not just the differential. There's a reduction gear here, but there seems to be quite a bit of drag on the brakes. Probably makes it a bit hard to move. I'm not in gear, so right, let's get the last bolt out, or last nut off, to get that wheel off. Well, it looks like the brake drum's coming off quite easy. It's not too terribly bad. I got the feeling there's a lot of oil in it, because I think this side is actually oily. Coming off really nice. Even the thread is wrong, because this isn't a metric bolt, and the forklift is obviously an old English one, so that's some imperial thread, but I don't have any bolts for that. And it comes off. So let me pull that off and see how it looks inside. Well, that's not too terribly bad. They got a little bit of a ridge, but they haven't done a lot. Look at the pads, they're pretty good actually. They may need a little bit of adjustment, and we obviously need to get rid of the ridge. But honestly, I'm surprised. The only problem we have is the brake line. We need to fit a new brake line here, and it's so difficult to get there. The wheel cylinder, well, it doesn't look leaking, but the transmission is actually leaking here. You can see that. Yeah, that's all shit. So we're gonna give that a decent blowout here, and see how it looks like. Maybe it's just brake dust, but I think it's oil. I need to figure out what the level setting is on those, because you can set the level somehow. I think this is one of the level plugs here. Yeah, I think they need to be horizontal. The problem is I have absolutely nothing about this axle, because the manual I have is for FODR5, and that's got a Kirkstall axle, and there's a Hamworthy axle. It's a truck axle, but well, that's what it is. A473 is the number of the brake shoes. Yeah, A473. That's good to know, but they are pretty good. So they have been serviced at some point, which is very surprising, because nothing has been serviced normally on this machine. But we'll check everything, and then we put a jackstone underneath, and then we sort out that leak on the gearbox. You can see it's dripping a little bit. I had it running before, and it drips a bit more. There's a cover underneath, and I think someone mangled up the gasket. Anyway, let's do that. So we got it jacked up a little bit further, and we're chasing the leaks here. Interestingly, there's a pressure relief valve here, I don't know if it's visible, and that was leaking like hell. There was a completely hardened copper gasket in it, and there's a spring in the ball. I wonder if the ball is still around. It shows some marks here, but think it's still good. The problem was that when I took the screw out, there's a whole bunch of black shit was coming out. Now it's clean. It's clean ATF. But before it was a whole bunch of dirty sludge coming out. So we may have had a pressure loss as well on the pressure relief valve. It drives okay, but I got the feeling could do with a little bit more main pressure. At some point we need to measure the pressure on the pressure points. I need to find them and see what we actually have in pressure, because it's just, yeah, it drives, but it needs a lot of throttle. Of course there's somewhere the transmission has been changed. It's not the original transmission. The axle is the same, the engine is the original one, but the transmission is a newer one. And you can see someone smeared around with silicone like hell. It's moist, but it's not dripping. The only point which is dripping was on that pressure relief valve and on this pipe here, which is actually the cooler line. This line goes to the cooler in the radiator, but they linked it out completely, so there is no transmission cooler. Well, we don't run that thing all day long, so it's okay, but honestly it's just not right. Whatever. At some point we may change that back to this pipe here. That's basically the shortcut for the transmission cooler. Comes out here and goes back up in here, and that should go back to the radiator. There is actually a transmission cooler in the radiator, but it's just not connected. Maybe they just didn't do it because they didn't have the gear or the pipes, or who knows, I don't know. But apparently we need to, for now, we need to put a cable tie on here to keep that up, because I'm rubbing in the dirt with that, because sometimes I pull some deep roots every now and then. Anyway, we're gonna put that pressure relief valve back with a new gasket, and I haven't found the drain plug. I haven't found the drain plug, but it's gonna be somewhere. And then we'll take that transmission cooler line out and see how much comes out there. I'm tempted to take the cover off because there's a strainer inside, but I don't know how much fluid is in the transmission. I have no idea. This is certainly not the drain plug. That looks like an adjuster for something, so I leave that alone. Yeah, we need to have a look what's going on here, but we're getting there. Every time we work on it, it's getting drier underneath. Still need to work on this pin here. I need to make a new one because this is completely mashed up here. You can see it. Yeah. Whatever. It says oil. I think that has to be horizontal. So we'll sort that out. That pin is leaking. Probably moving as well. Look. Yeah. And there was always a bit of oil around here, so it's probably leaking. I just found out that they actually put the wheel nuts the wrong way around. I didn't notice that when I took it off, but the wheels are conical, so that's how the wheel nuts go on. They go this way. You can see still. Why are you putting the wheel nuts the wrong way around? I don't get it. Whatever. Probably to get it off easier, maybe. It's a bit stupid. Anyway. Alright, yeah, we let that drip a little bit more to get the shit out, and then we'll just put that strainer back. Well, that's the bottom cover. There is a gasket, but apparently it was leaking, and then they smeared some of this silicone shit on the outside to make it tight. obviously that's not gonna work. Never. We got quite a bit of smear, which is obviously that's metal shavings, but it's powdery. No bits. That's good. Okay, so we need to clean the surface. I think the strainer is only 2 bolts. So we take that strainer out and wash it through until it's, as soon as it stops dripping. Still dripping a little bit. The bucket is almost full, so it's not too much in it. Well, anyway, let's clean all the stuff. Little screws. And they also forgot to put some gasket material on the bolts, because the bolts are actually through bolts. If you take the bolt out, they all comes out. That means it needs a bit of sealant, and I think I put an O-ring on the back just in case. So it's gonna be tight. So let's wait for 10 minutes until this stops dripping, and then we'll clean everything, put it back together, and hopefully we don't drip anymore. So here we got the strainer out. There's quite a bit of shit in it. I just blew into it and the back seems to be full of shit. So, well, this is the bottom. So we need to clean that out somehow, because that's no good. Alright, let's clean that. So we got it reasonably clean. There came an awful lot of shit came out, lots of little bits and bobs, really dirt, especially on the back. Normally it sits downwards, but apparently it picked up quite a bit of shit. So we washed it through with diesel and kerosene, and it should be good to go. Put it back in. Gasket looks still good. It sits down here somewhere. Don't know if it's visible. I'll show it when it's back in. So we got that strainer back in. That's here. Everything is nice and clean. So we need to make a gasket for that bottom cover. Look at that. This is all silicone shit here. They just smeared normal builder silicone around. I can't believe that. Anyway, we need to get that gasket off and make a new one. That's the next job. So we got it marked out. We need to cut the inside and punch the holes, and then we use Ilomar on both sides just to make sure it's actually tight, because I don't know how flat the cover is. We can check that, but we'll find out. Right, let me cut that off. So here we have it, holes punched. Find some Ilomar and hit it. So here we go. We stoned it flat because someone pulled them in like hell. So they were cone shaped here, and that obviously doesn't help with the sealing of the gasket. So cover is fitted. This one is tight. Took that line away a little bit with a cable tie so it doesn't rip on the floor, because if I go on the back of the garage, there's some roots and then it just nips on that. We're not going to do the brakes today because it doesn't look promising, so it might be raining. And secondly, this thing is leaking, so we need to take it apart. There is no way. And it takes just too long today. And I want to get it down to the ground again because I'm going to be off most of next week. So I don't want to leave that sitting on a jack and a few blocks. At least a little bit of progress. Brake lines, I can't do that today. No way. I've got enough. Alright, let's clean the drum, the shoes a little bit. And fairly dry, so and put it back, job done. So we gave them a bit of a scrub, and also the drum, especially the ridge, and removed the oil because it was a bit oily. There is a possibility that it just sprayed some oil into it to get it moving, because he was standing for a while, and so yeah, you never know. Okay, let's get that drum back and put the tire back on, but with the nuts the right way around. I wonder if they had the wrong way around the other side as well. These are the right way around, the other one's not. Okay, right. So this time we got the wheel nuts the right way around. It's centering just fine, so there's nothing wrong with these wheels. I don't know why they put the wheel nuts the wrong way around. Maybe because they haven't got a clue. Alright, let's slam them on and get finished. Alright, all back together. Topped up the ATF. Build it a little bit. Let's check what's going on underneath. As far as I can see, there's no drips. We'll see tomorrow. Is there any? I topped the ATF up to maximum cold. So we used Dextron 3. I think the specification is Dextron 2 for that, but I don't have that. And because the Jeep uses Dextron 3 as well, so that's the reason why I got that in stock here. Alright, let's clear the shit, put everything back where it should be, and call it a day. It's so windy, strange. Raining before, it stopped raining. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Until next time.